On the morning of the 23rd of March 1988, a 26-year-old woman boarded a train to London, Victoria. It was a routine journey, one she had taken countless times before. When the train arrived at the station, commuters stepped off, the doors opened, and inside one of the carriages lay a shocking scene. A young woman had been brutally murdered, and no one on the busy commuter route had heard a sound. Her name was Debbie Linsley, and her killer has never been identified. Who was Deborah Linsley? Debbie was born in 1962 and raised in Bromley, southeast London. She came from a close-knit family. Her father, Arthur Linsley, was a retired Metropolitan Police Detective Inspector, and her brother Gordon would eventually join the police service as well. Debbie had a warm, friendly personality and a strong sense of independence. In early 1988, she was working as an assistant manager at a hotel in Edinburgh and was only in London for a short visit. She was planning her return to the north the following week. During her visit, she stayed with her parents in Bromley. On the morning of the murder, she had planned to meet with her friends in London for lunch. A normal plan, a normal day, and nothing to suggest the danger that was waiting for her. The final train journey. At 9:50 a.m, Debbie boarded the 4-carriage train from Orpington to London, Victoria. This was a semi-fast service, meaning some of the stops were skipped and the journey was short, taking only around 30 minutes. Inside each older-style British rail carriage, there were no CCTV cameras, no connecting gangways between cars. There were doors that remained locked once the train had departed, and isolated compartments without modern visibility. Debbie entered a non-smoking compartment of the second carriage. This decision, whilst entirely ordinary, placed her alone in a confined space with whoever would eventually kill her. What happened during the journey? There are several things we know with certainty. Debbie was alive when the train left Orpington. Somewhere between Orpington and London, Victoria, she was attacked with a knife. She suffered 11 stab wounds, including a fatal wound to the heart. She had defensive injuries, indicating that she fought back, and a significant amount of the killer's blood was left at the scene. Witnesses reported hearing raised voices from her compartment earlier in the journey, consistent with a struggle, but no one intervened. At the time, commuters often avoided other people's disputes, especially in isolated compartments. Because the doors between the carriages were locked, the killer likely left the train at an intermediate stop or slipped out unnoticed amongst the crowd at Victoria. No one saw him leave, no one saw him enter, and no one saw the murder itself. The discovery. When the train rolled into London Victoria Station at around 18 minutes past 10, a railway worker preparing the train for its next journey checked the compartments. He opened the door to Debbie's compartment and found her slumped on the seat, her clothing blood-stained and her body still. The police were immediately called and the entire train was sealed off as a crime scene. Her parents were notified later that afternoon. Her father, a former detective, described the moment as the worst of his life. The investigation. The investigation quickly established several key points. Debbie fought back. Her defensive wounds showed that she tried to protect herself. This struggle caused the killer to cut himself severely. The killer left his blood behind. A large amount of non-family DNA was found at the crime scene, long before DNA profiling was common. This would later become one of the strongest pieces of evidence. No weapon was recovered. Despite extensive searches of the train, the station, and the surrounding areas, the knife used in the attack was never found. Hundreds of men were questioned. Detectives interviewed passengers, railway staff, and known violent offenders. No witnesses could describe the attacker. The train was busy. Carriages were not empty, yet no one admitted to seeing a blood-stained man disembark. The search area included all stations along the route. Time window. The murder occurred within a 28-minute window, a highly unusual setting for such a frenzied attack. But despite an enormous early effort, the trail went cold. Major breakthrough. In 2002, detectives reviewed cold cases with improved forensic technology. Debbie's case was reopened, and forensic scientists extracted a full DNA profile from the killer's blood. This was definitive. Her killer had left enough blood behind for identification. The DNA profile was entered into the UK National DNA Database, Interpol databases, and known offender databases. To this day, there has been no match. This confirms something important about the killer. We know that he is likely not a convicted criminal in the UK, or he may have lived outside the UK, or he may have died before being arrested for any crime that required DNA sampling. The DNA remains the strongest and possibly only route to solving this case. 30th Anniversary Appeal. In 2018, the Metropolitan Police re-appealed to the public. They confirmed once again the DNA profile is complete. They believe the killer cut himself severely. They believe he may have gone home with dramatic injuries, and someone close to him may have suspected something. Debbie's brother, Gordon, spoke publicly, describing the decades of pain that the family had endured and urging anyone with even the smallest piece of information to come forward. Theories. Every theory here is publicly documented and acknowledged by investigators. None are speculative beyond official statements. Number 1. The opportunistic stranger. This is the most widely accepted theory. A man boarded the same carriage, saw Debbie alone, and attacked her impulsively. Number 2. The killer knew the train layout. Because of the isolated compartments, some investigators believe that the attacker knew he could trap someone there. Number 3. The killer was injured enough to be noticed. Given the amount of blood left behind, police believe he may have returned home with cuts severe enough to require medical care. Number 4. The killer was a commuter. Someone familiar with the Orpington to Victoria route could have boarded and exited without attracting attention. Where the case stands today. As of today, the case remains open. The DNA evidence has been preserved, and the Metropolitan Police regularly re-examine the file. Debbie's father died before ever seeing justice. Her brother continues to speak on her behalf, pleading for the final piece of the puzzle that could identify her killer. The key is the DNA. The murder of Debbie Linsley is one of the most haunting unsolved cases in British history. A young woman boarded a train on an ordinary morning. She never arrived to her destination. Her killer walked free through crowded platforms, carrying the evidence of what he had done on his own hands. This case remains solvable. It only needs one person, one memory, or one DNA match to finally bring the truth to light.